I'm like, oh, no shit.
Yeah, that's why I always work Saturdays because is that good for you?
I'm sure it was fine.
That's why I always work Saturdays because it's $50 an hour.
Why wouldn't you?
And no one else realises that. And I literally just work 9 till 2 and then I go home.
And like, you don't even fucking like do anything.
Like, what would I do from
Between
9 till 2
Sunday.
on Saturday?
You sit around and wait for the horse racing or a sport to start.
Yeah. Well, just wait for drinking
That's
or
all-
wait
yeah,
for sport to start.
Where is this?
Why did I have 115
There we go. Is that right for you?
Yeah. Now I'm confused
Well, we're live.
with
Whoops.
my budget.
Edit.
Why is that $15 now? Oh, it's all chaos in here, mate. Oh, that's better. Oh, it's not better, but it is what it is. Rego. K-Fat today, unfortunately.
All right, here we go. Let's get this show on the road.
This is a problem.
Are these on?
Oh, they're not, sorry.
You want me to do it or should I do it?
Would you be able to get that one? Oh, yours is on for 7 minutes.
What? Did I do it?
Yeah. You sit down and I'll make sure yours is all right.
Good. That's easy.
Can you turn it off and then on again?
Yeah.
7 minutes. Fucking hell, right? You sure it was on?
Yeah, now I got to turn it off.
Or you can't press it?
Can't press it. Well, that turned it off, turning my phone off, and now it's recording again. That was really weird.
Or you need to turn the lights on. Turn the blue.
Yeah, that was a bit dark actually. I'll put it like that.
That's better. I'm just confused by my budget, but that doesn't matter. We'll work our way out. You get over it.
Oh no. Have we finally got one of these to break? Oh no.
Are you kidding?
It's only a matter of time. I mean, they have had a bit of a workout.
That's mine.
yours.
Yeah. What do you think it was the PowerPoint?
It flashed on for a second. It's playing out.
Oh, it's just dodgy with where it's sitting. Ah, yes. All good.
I got on though, so it matters. See where you get normally would.
Is mine too high or is that all good?
Nah, it's bang on. Yeah, bang on. I'll actually move it a touch to the right because you usually lean in.
I sort of want it to be like more eye level, I reckon. Like yours.
Yep.
Is that better?
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
That's the same.
Alright.
Yep, and I'll touch it forward a touch if you lean in more than you lean back.
Okay, we still live on YouTube. Yes, we are. Beautiful. All right, we're ready to rumble.
Sorry.
Ready?
I am ready.
All right. Test, all good?
Test, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Sick. All right. 3, 2, 1. G'day and welcome back to the Wing It podcast. It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. We have a little bit of a hiatus between the AFL finishing and the NFL sort of chugging along, but
Just a bit boring, the NFL right now.
Yeah.
First few weeks, you got to wait for the season to roll on before we really get into it.
exactly. But now the NBA is starting.
Our favourite time of the year.
Oh,
I think we
unbelievable.
say that every sport, but
That's
okay.
true, yeah.
But we love the NBA. We're going to bring out our classic NBA predictions and our awards episode today. Going to go through MVPs, all the awards, and who we think we're going to match up in the finals.
Yep. And I think this year with the NBA, it's been slightly different in terms of it's normally just 24/7, 365, where there's rumours, there's trades,
Yeah.
there's free agency. This year, it was going crazy up until Durant requested a trade, which is when it sort of got to its peak. And since then, just fell straight off. So,
Well, as soon as Gobert trade went through, everything stopped.
Yeah.
It halted because Minnesota had ruined it for everyone.
they ruined the market. So there was
did.
literally only 3 big trades this off-season that we could recap, which is Donovan Mitchell, going to the
Cleveland.
Cavs, which I
Yep.
think we both agree is a really good move for both teams.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert going
Minnesota.
to Timberwolves, which you can talk about in a second.
Yep.
And then you also had the other one,
Who the hell was it?
which
You said 3.
is the one I forgot about. So, wait, why are you doing? I'm going to try and remember. I was literally talking about today's one.
Sorry, it's such a good time if this didn't turn off.
I know. Can't remember, I full forgot. Who's the big trade? Oh, DeJounte Murray.
Yeah, I guess it's big
It's 3 like nobodies. It's weird. The perfection.
I'll quickly count us back in. 3, 2, 1.
And DeJounte Murray.
Oh, that's right.
So-
DeJounte Murray.
Yeah.
Bit of a forgotten trade, but still a large trade. I mean,
Yep.
makes no sense.
No.
But I love Atlanta being aggressive and getting in good players.
Well, you look at that, that's 8 first-round picks between 3 players, which sort of puts a lot of teams in great positions, being the Spurs, the Jazz, and obviously the Thunder with their picks is
Yeah, of
fantastic. In that position for Victor Wembanyama this year,
Yep.
and also high picks in the coming years as well. So
Well, Wembanyama, they're saying this is just a bit like a Zion type year, isn't it? It's the Wembanyama sweepstakes now.
yeah, well, Richard Jefferson, a former teammate of LeBron James, came out and said that if LeBron James was in this draft, Victor Wembanyama would be number 1 and LeBron James would be number 2.
And that is the worst call I've ever heard in my history of life. And you're
Huge.
saying that with hindsight as well, so it makes
That's
it
true.
even a worse comment.
Yeah,
Makes it even worse.
that's true.
At least you could give him benefit of the doubt. Anyway, stupid comment. But let's spend a minute or two talking about the trades.
Yeah.
So we talk about the interesting trades. They don't really fit, I guess, off the top of your head. You have the DeJounte Murray to Atlanta, has to share the ball a lot with Trey now. We assume that's going to make both of them regress stats-wise, you would assume, wouldn't you?
You'd think so, yeah. Like, on to your point with them being strange trades, obviously, like DeJounte going to Atlanta doesn't fit what they need. It fits what they already have in Trae Young, a point
Who's
guard.
a playmaking point guard who does a bit of everything and shoots.
Yeah, and then you look at Minnesota, who the one thing they don't really need is a center because they have Cat, obviously, and then they take Gobert. And then you look at Cleveland, don't need a small guard,
No.
yet they get a small guard.
You've already got a surplus with Kalis Levert, who's now just useless now on that team. It's an interesting trade. Minnesota might be the only one, I think, apart from Cleveland. I think Cleveland makes the most sense because he's a star. Makes sense. Minnesota makes the next most sense for me because we
agreed.
are so weak in the paint. Cat is everyone calls him he's the softest big man ever, apparently.
He's a 7-foot shooting guard.
100%. So get him out on the perimeter and make him do what he does best. Keep Rudy to do exactly what he does best, sitting in the paint. He might average 100% field goal percentage this year because I don't think he's going to leave the paint at all.
On 2 shots a game.
Quite literally, 2 to 4 shots a game.
And that's fine.
And he's got D'Angelo Russell, who we saw with Jared Allen, was amazing when they had that chemistry in Cleveland, in Brooklyn. D'Lo hasn't had that in Minnesota.
No.
Because Cat is always on the outside. So he gets that. I think Rudy and D'Lo just go phenomenal. But then the next one, obviously, with Trey and DeJounte, I don't get that.
No.
It makes them worse perimeter-wise. Because DeJounte's a pretty average shooter.
Yeah.
He's pretty average. I don't know. I don't get that one. But
When Trey's got the ball at the end of the game and he's cooking, I just want to know where DeJounte's going to be.
yeah.
DeJounte, fantastic ball, like bringing up the ball handler, obviously great playmaker as well. We saw last year with the Spurs,
Yes.
great defensive player, and I think that's the reason it's going to work next to Trae Young.
It's the defense.
It's the defense.
I think
it's the
so too.
length. He's bigger than your normal point guard, and I think that's what they really need in that backfield. And I honestly think that it's going to work.
Well, he must.
I don't know why.
Well, he better have a big spoonful of humble pie and
Yep.
accept his points, assess, and rebounds going to half.
Yep, 100%.
Half.
Everything's telling me it's not going to work, but I just have a weird feeling it's going to work.
Tend to agree. All right, let's get into our preview for this season. Now, let's start off with our MVP. Now, I'll go first. I'm going to go with an MVP winner from yesteryear and take Giannis here.
I like it.
I think the Bucks are going to be, again, unstoppable.
Yep.
They're going to be, if they don't make the finals, they're going to be losing a conference final at the minimum. So, and Giannis is
Agreed.
going to be the master stroke behind that again. Didn't win it last year or the year before. So, he's got a bit of voter
fatigue.
Voter wake up.
The opposite
Voter
of fatigue.
wake up. That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. Jokic has the voter fatigue. He's
Yeah.
got the voter wake up, thinking, oh shit, yeah, we should get Giannis another MVP, shouldn't we?
Agreed.
So I take Giannis. Bit of a boring tip, but I like him.
Yeah, I think the Bucks are probably going to be the best team this year, and they've sort of proven that they're a great regular season team. And one of the biggest lessons I think they learnt last year was the fact that they didn't go hard enough in the regular season, and
No.
it really hurt them come playoffs because they had that sort of 3 or 4 seed where they unfortunately ended up coming against the Celtics in the second round. So that really
travelling.
hurt them. Yeah, exactly right. So that really hurt them in a big way. And I think this year they're going to be gunning for that 1 or 2 spot in order to have that really favourable run.
Completely
So,
agree.
One player I'm going to be going for this year, and a little bit biased, obviously. Didn't pick him last year when he was the sub $5 favourite, but I think this year he is an absolute lock.
A lock.
Because his biggest sort of detractor has always been the fact that he comes into the season out of shape.
Yeah.
So last season he came in completely out of shape. He was smoking shisha about a month before the season started, looking quite
King.
fat. Bit of a king. But then he takes the first 30 games or so to warm up and really have that pre-season in season. But that's Luka Doncic.
Yep.
I think Luka Doncic this season, he's been primed in the off-season, playing obviously a little bit of Euro ball, playing fantastic out there as well, averaging 30-plus points per game. And I think he's going to do that in the NBA as well. So this season he's coming in finally fit, which is fantastic to see. And I see him as an absolute lock for MVP.
I can't disagree. I think a 30-point triple-double is not out of the questions for him as an average. Honestly, like a 39-9, I think is well in capabilities. All right, a roughie. I'm going with a $51 in Damian Lillard.
Love it.
I mean, this man's going to have to do everything for this team.
Yep.
Shoot, rebound, steal.
He won't have to
assist.
defend, though, which is good.
No, we have to defend. This is true because they actually got some nice defenders around him.
Jeremy Grant, Josh Hart.
Yeah, and those guys are such complementary players for a Lillard. They don't do anything else apart from just put up some mid-ranges and just give you whatever.
Yeah,
But
they
that's
don't
perfect
take
for
anything
Lillard.
away from him.
No, they spread the floor enough for Lillard. They get Lillard assists. He could average 9 assists, I think, very easily.
Yep.
A one-man band. We saw Russell Westbrook win MVP doing the same thing. I think Lillard could be a similar esque.
I like it. I like that quite a lot, actually, especially because I took him with my first pick in the
did.
fantasy draft. So
Helping you out there, mate.
I think he'll be fantastic this year. And another player I think is going to be fantastic and really take on that load of the entire team is Devin Booker.
Yep.
So Devin Booker at $29 odds. We saw him last year really take flight when Chris Paul went down with an injury and he was taking on the sort of playmaking duties.
He was.
Really up the assist, really up the ball handling, and he was fantastic. So I think this season with Chris Paul, he's getting to the age where he's about 4 years past the mark of any successful point guard before him, which is amazing already. But I feel like, unfortunately, that cliff is coming where he's just going to drop off. He's not going to be able to play the sort of 60, 55 even games. And I think Devin Booker is going to take over. And as much of a basket case as Phoenix is this season, I think they could still win a lot of games and he could be the MVP.
And only preseason basket case to this point.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
to this point, they could sort it out, no worries. We never know.
Yeah.
This happens a lot. We've seen these guys who are definitely going to be traded. Don't
Yeah.
get traded, play on.
Well, mid-season last year, it came out with all the Sava incidents, with the alleged racism. And then, obviously, what's his name? Chris Paul's been through all this before as well. With Donald Sterling. He was
Yes, of
right in the
course.
mix of that with the Clippers. So they sort of do know how to get over it and push through that, what's affecting them off the court, and sort of keep it just on the court.
Well, on the court, they're pretty well the same team, aren't they? Bar Crowder. That's about it. All right, moving on to the most talked about award on the Winger podcast to date, because I'm going to skip the Defensive Player of the Year and move straight to this one because I jumped on there. Anyway, we're going to move on to the Most Improved Player of the Year because it will take up a bit of the segment. I have no tips on this. I'm going to let my co-host take the stage because it's winning. Dogger?
It has to win. So I have been talking about this for 4 or 5 months now?
Yeah.
Maybe longer. Almost since the NBA
Finished.
stopped.
Yeah.
This is something I've been keeping my eye on, and it's one of the reasons that I've been most excited for this podcast as well. And my pick for Most Improved Player is De'Aaron Fox.
Love it.
So you may think, yeah, fair enough pick. That's a pretty good pick. Don't mind it. You may have heard Bill Simmons flag it on his podcast as well. But the reason I picked De'Aaron Fox, so basically I was looking through the odds and you're not going to believe this, but he was paying $276
Yeah.
to win Most Improved Player. Since then, he's come in to 101 on some bookies and he's 76 on others. I would be taking it, and I am taking it. I'll tell you that quite frankly. Gamble responsibly, but De'Aaron Fox will win the Most Improved Player of the Year.
100%.
Because last year, you take the sample size. So last year for 15 games, his game improved such an enormous amount that he could almost have won it last year. Because last year, throughout the season, he averaged 23 points per game and 4 assists per game. After Tyrese Halliburton, ball dominant guard, was traded, and Domantas Sabonis, a very complimentary piece, was brought in.
Very.
He then averaged 31 points per game and 7.8 assists per game.
Huge.
A career high in both. It was only for 15 games. I completely understand that. But it's the team that they're building around him that really excites me. Because ever since he's gone in Sacramento, it's been one of the worst franchises in all of sports. Now they're bringing Mike Brown, who's a known winner, part of the Warriors, part of the Cavaliers as well during their success. They bring him in, and I think this season could be the season where they break their playoff drought.
Wow.
Because they are now sitting alone after the Mariners in the MLB made their playoff berth this season. Mm-hmm. They are now standing alone 18 seasons without any playoff games whatsoever.
Gee whiz.
So De'Aaron Fox, all I want him to do is what he did for 15 games last season with a team that's built around him with shooters galore. You've got Herder, you've got Monk, you've got Keegan Murray, who I'm very keen on as well. We'll get into that later. And I think De'Aaron Fox is going to thrive in this offense. Mike Brown driven with Domantas Sabonis by his side, and he will lead Sacramento to their first playoff berth in 18 years.
Oof. You sold it to me.
$101. This is paying $101. This
Paid
is
$276
ridiculous.
not long ago.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
this is ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
Gamble responsibly, but get around it.
100%. Gamble responsibly on that one. All right. On to Defensive Player of the Year. Won't be as exciting as our last one, unfortunately. No. But Defensive Player of the Year, I'm taking the big Stifle Tower. Maybe the best player in the NBA. If he's not number one, he's number two. That's Rudy Gobert. Look, this is going to come into a team that has no defense, and he's going to make it a defensive juggernaut. He doesn't have to do anything else bar from block shots, rebound the ball, and just shoot well. Like, I don't give a shit what else he does. So that's what he's going to do.
It's his only role.
That's his only role. And 2 of those 3 are Defensive Player of the Year capabilities.
Yep.
Attributes. So he's going to dominate. He's going to average 2-3 blocks a game and have like 12 boards a game and just be a beast. And a 10 that's going to finish top 4 seed. Said enough.
Well,
Rudy Gobert.
You could honestly say exactly the same reasons for my pick.
Sucker motherfucking blur.
I'm picking Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons for Defensive Player of the Year because, as you said, what's he going to do on this team? Doesn't have to shoot, doesn't have to score. All he has to do, rebound, guard the best player. And the best thing about Ben Simmons, if the best player is Damian Lillard or it's Giannis Antetokounmpo, he'll guard them both.
Yep.
He'll guard the best player on the team, no matter their size, no matter their skill set, no matter their speed, and he will lock them up. So Ben Simmons this year, I think he's going to average a couple of steals. He's great in the passing lanes, going to average a few blocks, and he's going to be great on the defensive boards because he might be playing against point guards or he might be playing against centers, but regardless, he's 6'10", 6'11", and it's $26. I think that is some serious value for Ben Simmons. Obviously, the last couple of years have been a bit treacherous for him, but if you remember back to the last season that he played, he finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting, and it was an uproar that he didn't win it over Rudy Gobert.
Yeah,
so
it was.
The fact that all offensive sort of like expectations have been taken off of him, and he can just play his defensive game, I think he can excel in that area.
I don't see why he can't either.
Yeah,
I love it. A roughie for Defensive Player of the Year. I'm taking Anthony Davis. I actually can't remember off the top of my head if he has won one yet, but I can tell you for free that he is always the best defender in the league. If he's not one, he's 2 or 3 every year he's played.
Yeah.
When he's on the court, he's always one of the best defensive players on the court. If he can just keep his body right, in a Lakers team that I think will be better than people say, I think there will be a playoff team.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be the main man for them defensively, just like he was in the title year. And I think he can win the Defensive Player of the Year, Anthony Davis.
Yeah. And for my roughie, I'm going to be taking a man by the name of Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler is paying him $91 for Defensive Player of the Year. In the last few years, I've taken him every year for Defensive Player of the Year.
You have?
Has never got near.
No.
Not even once. He's always paid huge money for it. But I think this
For
year...
good reasons, maybe.
Yeah, maybe for good reason. But this year, I think he's going to be the best defensive player on probably one of the best, or if not the best, defensive team in the NBA as well. And at $91, I think that's just a little bit overs, but I really like Ben Simmons.
Not taking Bam this year? You do love the Miami defenders,
Yeah,
don't you?
I took Bam last year. He unfortunately finished second, and he was fantastic as well. But I think Jimmy Butler, he has the ability to lead the league in steals, which he has done before.
Yeah.
And I think that might be a big contributing factor, especially when he's guarding some of the opposing team's best players.
Agreed. All right, sixth man of the year. Very tough one. This is probably the most toughest of them all to pick.
Well, the fact that we don't even know who's going to be the sixth man.
No, both of these players we're going to mention here could all start, depending on injuries, but they could actually start normally. So mine is going to be Malcolm Brogdon. Just a fear of the unknown, but a fear of the unknown could be a great thing.
Yeah.
I've got no idea what to expect from Malcolm Brogdon this year, but he could just be a guy who plays 29, 30 minutes off the bench and just does his role. 16 points, 8 assists. I could see in a team surrounded by shooters, well coached. Or I'm not sure who their coaches anymore, but they're a well coached organization. Regardless, they're a proper organization with the right guys around them. So yeah, I think Malcolm Brogdon could just have a really, really solid year off the bench, and who knows what to expect. He could be shit house.
Yeah.
But I could honestly see him just flopping, but I could also see him flourishing.
Yeah, 100%. And he's the sort of player who has the ability to start on almost any other NBA roster.
Yep.
So the fact that they have him with obviously their stars already that took them to the finals, I think he's a great cherry on top.
Agreed.
And for my sixth man of the year, I had an original pick who has now drifted out to $41, and I'm not sure why. So we'll get into that in a second with my roughie. But the perfect player to have as a six man is definitely that sort of spark plug off the bench, who can come in, handle the rock, and he can score for you, score that sort of 20 plus points per game in some cases. And I believe that's going to be Norman Powell this year. So obviously the Clippers are going to be really good this year, in my opinion, with Kawhi and Paul George back to full health, it seems. So they're two great players, but when they go off, what's going to be the scoring ability of the team? And I think Norman Powell's really going to carry that load. Especially late into games, I think he's going to be playing a lot with the starting unit, and he's going to be fantastic in terms of having that sort of third scorer for those two guys to really feed off of as well. So my pick's Norman Powell.
Well, Clippers and six man of the years, they've been a bit of a in harmony in recent years, haven't they?
They do love picking a six man of the year.
A few, yeah. All right, roughies. I'm going with a guy who is paying absurd odds. I think like 100 to 1. I think it might be 71 now. I'm taking Derrick Rose as a six man of the year. I take that because, I don't know, maybe the Brunson experiment doesn't work. And he has to just do big minutes off the bench, which we've seen him do before in Thibodeau roles especially. So I don't mind it. Derrick Rose, I'm not going to go too much on it, but he could just be, he's a spark plug. He's not the guy he used to be, clearly. Yeah. But he's actually proven in the last couple of years he's been very, very effective off the bench.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think Derrick Rose, even he was saying himself that he feels fitter than ever, which we hear from so many players over the years, obviously, but he's looking really good this year. He's looking really slim as well, which could be really good for 100%. Him. So my roughie for six man of the year, which I hinted on before, which I think honestly could be just my number one pick anyway, is Anthony Simons.
Love it.
We saw him last year really flourish in a higher usage role with Dame out, and I feel like as a six man, he is the perfect player that you want. As I said before, that sort of spark plug off the bench that's able to come on and score at a really, really high level and great efficiency as well. He has the ability to do so. So I think as a six-man, he's just everything you'd want and more. So I believe at $41.
Drifting out.
Way over. It was $18 the other day.
And we don't know why.
No idea why.
Unless there was some leak about him starting, that's about all I could think of.
I don't think he'll start. I think they'll play Dame and someone like a Josh Hart over him.
Yeah, I'd assume so too.
In terms of a defensive ability. Yeah. But I don't think that stops him from playing 30-plus minutes a game.
No, neither do I. Beautiful pick. All right, Rookie of the Year. I hated Rookie of the Years last year. I hate it even more this year. Do we have to... I don't even... All right, let's get to this very quick. My Rookie of the Year is going to be Agbaji. Drafted by Cleveland and then traded to Utah. Had a stellar college career for Kansas and was elite. He shoots the rock very well. Shot over 40% from three when he was at Kansas, and a really high field goal percentage as well. But he's just going to a team in Utah that looks like a shambles, a bottom team. He's going to have his opportunities. Simple as that. I think he's paying about $18, saying or rather, but I really like his chances because he was amazing in college.
Yeah.
So I love it. I think Cleveland trading him they will regret that. Honestly, I think if you could fit that team eventually too. But
Sure.
love it.
My pick, and I think he is an absolute lock, barring injury. I managed to get him earlier in the year at $4, which I was quite happy with, and that's Paolo Banchero, who is now actually into a $2.75 favourite.
Jesus, not even a game played yet.
No, the only reason I'm picking him is purely because he is the only player in this draft that is NBA ready.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to come in straight away. He won't be very efficient. I honestly don't think he's the greatest. He could be quite good, but I think he's going to maybe average around the 16, 17, have 8 rebounds and a few assists as well because he's quite a good playmaker, especially for his size. So Paolo Banchero, my absolute lock, but my roughie, who is now actually coming to second favourite. I picked him when he was $12. I really, really liked him at $12. I think he's going to come into a team that's been struggling, he's going to really contribute to winning because I feel like that's not seen enough in the Rookie of the Year market because obviously a lot of bad teams have the Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
But Keegan Murray, I think, is going to come in and be a fantastic contributor to winning on the Sacramento Kings. I think he could average sort of 18, 19 points per game.
Wow.
Quite easily. He's just that sort of player. He's just going to have the green light just to shoot, and he's not going to have to do much else. So
And he can shoot it well.
yeah, he can. He can shoot it very, very well. He showed that in his second year at college. So Keegan Murray for Rookie of the Year, $6.50. I think is still quite good odds.
Take that. My roughie is the biggest roughie you've probably ever heard of. And you haven't heard of him. Walker Kessler, I think he's paying $81. Got drafted in Minnesota. I really liked him for about 6.5 minutes till we traded his ass to Utah Jazz. Oh, wow. I'm just going for Utah rookies here, aren't I?
Someone's got to get the ball on that team.
You'd think so. I mean, Walker's going to be a backup center as well, so it's really not going well for him. But I think he'll get big minutes behind Kelly Olynyk and regardless, because he's going to be a really good center. He's just going to be a no-nonsense, high rebounding blocks and a really high field goal percentage center. That's about it. I'm not going to say anything more about him, but he's paying big money and I like his opportunity.
Well, Rookie of the Year this year is quite a hard one because, as I said, the only really NBA-ready player is Paolo Banchero.
Yeah.
And presuming he doesn't get shut down for the season / doesn't have any issues, although in college he has fair share of issues, especially with cramping issue, which he's had multiple doctors look into. He would cramp severely to the point where he'd have to lie down and get an IV after the game, actually, just for his cramping issues, which is pretty full on. And he would have to come out mid-game.
Need to eat some pickles, man.
Yeah, literally needs the pickle juice. Apparently OD'd on pickles at one point, just trying to get rid of it.
Really? Love a Big Mac.
But no, barring an injury, I don't think there's going to be much of a race, to be honest. Keegan Murray might be up there, but Paolo Banchero, a bit of a lock.
Agreed. All right, let's wrap this show up with a finals matchup. Forgot what we're doing then. Our finals matchup. We've both gone for the same team coming out of the West, but we split it on the East. So I'll go first. I'm taking the Clippers to come out the West and the Nets to come out the East. I mean, it was only 12 months ago when the whole entire world said there's no way this Nets team can lose a game. It was supposed to be the best team we've ever seen. I mean, I know they had James Harden then, but they got Ben Simmons now, and for me, that's a better fit. So I think they're just as good, if not better. There's no flat earth. There's no COVID issues. There's no... Oh, the flat earth's probably still there for Kyrie, but the COVID issue's gone, which is the main, obviously a huge, huge factor of that team failing last year. KD had a relatively healthy year last year as well. This could be their go. And I think they've got to make it now. Joe Harris is back. He was out for all that last year. They've still got an elite team.
Yeah.
Let's not forget about that. And the turmoil has settled. So this is their season right now.
Yeah.
If they don't win it this year, done. I want to say.
Yeah, I think this year is primed for everything, as you said before. The years before, it's just always been some issue that's come up somewhere. So, but a team that I think is obviously primed for this year as well, that's the Clippers, as you mentioned before. The Clippers this year have probably, I'd say, the best roster in Clippers history. Coming in with... Obviously, John Wall, it's a bit of a question mark around what he could be.
Who cares?
Same with Kawhi Leonard, a bit of a question mark what he could be. He's only played 109 games in the last 5 years.
It's absurd, but 70% of those 109 games won a title.
Yeah, exactly right. So in 5 years, though. That's pretty crazy.
It's very crazy.
So yeah, obviously he has the pedigree, he has the potential, but it's whether he'll be healthy by the end of the year. Same with Paul George. He's always had a sort of a question mark around him. But it's sort of this team where the floor is so incredibly low, but the ceiling is so incredibly high. They have two of the best two-way players in the league at the moment. So I think they could come out of the West barring injury. And I think the team that's going to meet them is a team that's been there before, and they'll be there again. That's the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah.
So the Bucks obviously have just sort of kept the same roster and kept the same core for the last 3 or 4 years, which has been fantastic to see, especially in this day and age. And then this year they even get Brook Lopez back as well.
Yeah, I've forgotten soul.
Yeah, it could have been a big loss for them last year, sort of with hindsight. But obviously everyone's fit and firing now. Giannis is just probably the best player in the NBA right now. Yeah. Unstoppable on both ends. Could win Defensive Player of the Year and MVP, which he's already done before. So I think this year they're going to be primed. And as I said before, they'll focus a little bit more on the regular season, just so they can have that higher seed to go into the playoffs and not sort of suffer those unfortunate injuries like Chris Middleton, which last year, if they had him, I think they would have won. But yeah, this year I think the Bucks are going to be fantastic, and I think they're going to meet the Clippers in the finals and beat them.
Ooh.
Taking that.
That the Bucks will win it all.
Yeah,
I'll take the Nets to win it all then as well. All
we
right.
go.
So we both up the Clippers to lose in the final, eh?
Yeah, well, the East this year is so strong.
And the West is so shit.
Yeah,
we couldn't
seemingly,
believe.
yeah.
Just on face value right now, it looks so weakened from the West we've seen the last 20 years almost, you could say.
Yeah.
It is weak as buggery right now.
Yeah.
So, interesting season ahead. Season starts tomorrow. This episode will be out tonight. Thank you very much for listening to the Wing It Podcast. We are back. Make sure you stay tuned on our socials, on Instagram especially. We'll be posting every day with our tips of the day, one each of just a pun that we love in the NBA each day. So, yes, keep your eyes peeled. We'll be back with our weekly episodes as well. And thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Perfect. Nice, mate. Well done. That was perfect. What was that, about 20, 25 maybe?
31. There you go. And we fucked around for at least 7 minutes. So.
Perfect. That's so good.
Beautiful.